You know, as much as the titles and thumbnails may fool you, believe it or not, I've always really loved League of Legends. I'm a firm believer that Season 10 was the best season ever, and I'm genuinely excited with what they've been doing with the game. However, this may come as a shock to some of you, but for the first time ever, I can say that's not the case. I feel like the direction Riot has been taking their game may in fact not be great. Heck, it might not even be good. And it all revolves around a beautiful, totally balanced, not overpowered at all item called Crown of the Shattered Queen. I'm gonna explain it to you guys real quick for the people who are too lazy to read the item description, or the people who watched the hit series Arcane and decided they wanted to download League of Legends to try it out. And if you're in the latter case, may God have mercy on your soul. Crown of the Shattered Queen is a 280 gold mythic item that grants 60 AP, 20 ability haste, 250 health, and 600 mana. All of those stats seem pretty good, but the problem lies in its passive, Safeguard. When an enemy champion attacks you, reduce incoming damage from enemy champions by 75% for 1.5 seconds. On top of that, when this passive procs, you get a second passive, Poise, which grants 10 to 40 ability power based on level for the next 3 seconds. And then finally, as a mythic passive, this item also grants you 8 AP for every legendary item and 1% move speed. Taking all of this into account, this is one of the most gold efficient items in the game. I mean, sure, it has 20 AP less than a Luden's Tempest, but it does cost 400 gold less, so you're only missing about 35 gold there. But basically, if you buy this item, you can't be bursted down when you're caught out because of the 75% champion damage reduction for 1.5 seconds. Which may not sound like a lot, but most champions rely on an initial burst in catching somebody out in order to do all of their damage and rip their heart right out of their body. Since casters are a class that have been frankly not good for a while, this was Riot's answer to keep them from getting assassinated over and over in all of the games that they were in. And honestly, I do kind of get it. Because if you were a caster player for the last 3 years, people probably thought you were inting. But now here's the problem. If a Lux walks into the enemy jungle with no vision, she should die. Because casters have always had to be the most spatially aware class in the game because of their immobile nature and how easy it was to kill them. The only way to deal with casters has always been to assassinate them when they get out of position. And let's be honest, since hypermobility has been a problem in this game for a while now, casters have been cast to the wayside because just about everyone can catch them out. But the people over at Riot HQ, how they decided to deal with this was just to remove that altogether. If a caster is walking around with their safeguard up, there is absolutely nothing you can do until you blow the safeguard first. Which sounds easy enough, right? Logical progression says, dude, just blow the shield and you're good. But then, when you look at the entire roster of League of Legends champions, you very quickly realize that over 75% of them cannot hit a caster without putting themselves in a very compromising position. This is especially true in teamfights. A lot of champions with hypermobility that are meant to catch them out will die instantly now if they try, because a lot of them don't have a way to get out without getting a reset or a Duskblade proc. Safeguard makes champions like Rengar, Kha'Zix, Shaco, Darius, Garen all useless because now those champions have to do twice the work in order to catch a caster out, which is why all of their itemization made sense. Gore Drinker was an insanely strong item. I am not saying that item was okay, but the reasoning behind Gore Drinker was that you had to be so close to use it effectively that you were always putting yourself in the line of fire. Duskblade was a hefty amount of damage, and invisibility is super annoying. But what it did was it granted champions like Talon and Rengar ways to escape fights without being killed instantly after doing what they were built to do and taking out a high priority target. Gale Force has an insane amount of play potential, but since all ADCs are DPS characters and need to be in position to auto attack in most fights in order to be useful, it was a necessary evil for whenever the enemy team put the ADC in their sights. Casters, however, aren't supposed to be in the war zone. Casters are meant to be in the back line attacking from a relatively safe position. And most casters have some form of CC in order to peel for themselves and keep themselves alive whenever their Zhonya's just wasn't enough. But now, the item grants them the ability to literally tank more front-loaded damage than anyone else in the game, which they shouldn't be tanking anyway if they had just positioned correctly. The caster class is insanely hard. It always has been. And honestly, it's been pretty bad for a while. Caster mains always had my respect because in order to play that class correctly, you had to be one of the most spatially aware people in the game to keep track of where everyone is so you don't get bursted down. But now, Riot is just trying to make that class easy by making them the one true thing in the meta. If you're a team that doesn't have a caster and you're going against a caster that builds crown, chances are you're not going to be able to kill them because you have to catch them out twice now instead of once, and they're still fighting at an insane range. The only logical answer to casters now is more casters with the exact same range that are capable of burning the safeguard, which is how Riot is forcing our hands in this meta, because there's literally no other answer to casters right now than other casters. It's like if God patched rock, paper, scissors and now made rock beat paper too. Why would you choose anything else besides rock? And though I'm not saying that this item is great in every single situation, there are specific situations in which this item is just unstoppable. Not to mention that it completely negates half the roster. I can play anything, and I'm so glad that Veigar is starting to weasel his way back into the meta because I love playing Veigar so much. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like assassins have any chance of getting into the game if I just rush a crown and then burst them down with my ultimate. But we're not even done yet. As I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, almost all of the best caster items in the game are also giving bonus health. There is no reason on God's green earth that a Kassadin should be walking around one-shotting people with 3,500 health. I have played Shaco for 6 seasons, and I can honestly say this is the first time I've ever felt like a clown. And to add just a little bit of lemon juice to the wound, TP changes are going to make games take longer. Objective bounties are going to make games take longer. And even ADCs are starting to build crown right now. This isn't just a bad meta to be an assassin, but assassins are becoming effectively useless. Because as we all know, assassins fall off in later stages of the game. And I'll have a blast playing whatever the heck I want to play because AP Rengar sounds fun right now. But honestly, I have never seen a class just be so completely erased over one patch. Again, this is just the preseason, and chances are most of this stuff doesn't even make it to live, but I'm gonna ask you guys, what do you guys think about Crown of the Shattered Queen? Because I think it's pretty strong, and I think it's pretty problematic because it's not good for the class. It's just a band-aid for bad players of the class. But I could be jaded. I like assassins, what can I say? Please let me know in the comment section how you feel, and I'm gonna read all of them. Now, before I go, I want to make a very quick announcement. Me and my girlfriend are gonna have a very fun duo holiday stream over on her channel, twitch.tv/Serenide. We bought a bunch of stuff for it. We're gonna be building gingerbread houses. We're gonna be making holiday drinks without looking anything up, so they're gonna taste terrible. And we're also going to be giving away a Nintendo Switch alongside other stuff. So head on over there right now on twitch.tv/Serenide, and we're probably going to be drinking by the time you get there. Anyways, I love you. I'll see you in a few seconds, and if not, I will see you tomorrow. Adios.